Danielle has been like a sister to me, because she is my sister. We can try convincing people that we are twins. That didn't really work out, considering the age difference. I mean, we did everything together. She impacted me in joining the FFA.
Woo!
Yeah. And we worked at the same job. I don't think it was a job that had the experience, but car ride over. Needless to say, 99% of the time it was her music, and I memorized every single word to every single Jonas Brother, Keith Urban, Taylor Swift, and just a song Against My Will. She claims that I enjoy her music, but really, I just like making fun of it. Well, when we were talking, when we were listening to her music, we were talking. And I became known as her little personal diary. And I clearly remember her talking about how she wanted to run for state office, and how she wanted her retirement investment absolutely perfect and planned out. And I also remember her not wanting to need to introduce her because I would embarrass her to make fun of her. Funny how that worked out. But Danielle proved me wrong, and she's standing here today, giving her the thing that she's worked so hard for, and I'm proud to introduce the 2009-2010 New York FFA State Reporter, Danielle Sonic!
Instantly, I was past the ball and shot from right here, my sweet spot. And it was no surprise to me that that ball was straight for that hoop. But just as that ball went through the net, a timeout was called, and I was taken out of the game. Have you ever wanted something so badly, have it at the tips of your fingers, and then have it instantaneously taken away from you? At that moment, it seemed that my coach had taken it all away from me. All I wanted to do was cry. But instead, just like every other game that season, I took my seat back on the bench and cheered on my little best friends. Disappointment to me is the worst thing in the world, and those car rides home with my dad made me just more disappointed in myself than I had ever felt before in my life. I was disappointed that I couldn't be like the starting five, who played in every single game and always left with their parents smiling. My dad came to every single one of my games in second grade, always cheering me what was happening to his body. We were all so scared, and after numerous doctor's visits, Ryan was finally diagnosed with a form of Tourette syndrome called tics. School was an absolute nightmare for my brother, with kids constantly making fun of his disability, to my brother dropping his tray in front of the entire cafeteria. But this never slowed down my brother. Instead of being sad or upset about what other kids called him, he focused on a greater cause. How many of us would honestly wake up in the morning with a smile on our face if we knew that as we walked through the doors of our high school, we would be judged by our peers for something that we couldn't control? It is so easy to follow the rhythm of being the same when we live in a society that says it accepts diversity, when in reality, only specific kinds of diversity is accepted. For most of us, myself included, we begin to accept what other people say about us as part of the definition of who we are. Sometimes, that definition even replaces who we are. But you know what my brother Ryan taught me the most? That in order to succeed, you have to stay dedicated to being diverse. There are going to be people who make fun of us for things that we can't control, like a disability or the color of our skin. But like Ryan, we need to focus on a greater cause. Because a better horizon is closer than you think. My brother Ryan found that horizon. His tics are so minimal that now they look like that occasional chill. Ryan's tics are who he is. No, scratch that. Ryan's tics are a part of who he is. They do not define him. My brother is stronger and better because of them. My brother accepts diversity better than any person I know. No color of skin, genre of music, strength, weakness, or disability will stop my brother from embracing someone with a cold heart. My brother has made this world believe. Who would want to have tics? So, if you sit the bench the rest of the season, lose every election you run in, trip every time you dance, or are simply not comfortable with yourselves, each and every one of us needs to realize that we have a purpose in this world. The way we handle our differences, our small actions, that will truly have a large impact on the world around us. We should each learn from my brother and accept that we are different and that it's okay. I don't know about you, but personally, I would be absolutely bored if every single person in this room scored 20 points a game and had a nasty three-pointer. What would it matter? What would be special about us? We wouldn't learn anything because we would all be the same. All of us struggling on the inside, yearning and ironically, somehow find a way to be different. And you know what I realized after all of this time? I want to be just like you right over there, and you down in the center, and you, and you. Actually, those would all be lies. Yes, each one of us is different, but we should not get over that or even apologize. It is so easy to turn to the person next to us and be disappointed because we're not like them. But now, look at yourself. Yes, it is tough to be ourselves in a society that creates more molds. But why not be comfortable with ourselves and love you and your abilities? This world would be boring if we didn't have those people that waited at midnight to see a new movie, or that crazy girl in your class who knows more Beethoven song lyrics than she knows answers on a test.